Hi everyone, today we're going to be out and about in central London taking some architecture pictures with the Viltrox 16mm f1.8 prime lens for the Nikon Z mount. Now, full transparency, I was sent this lens to review, and the reason I accepted it was because I wanted a wide-angle prime lens for my Nikon system. And I thought if I can get one for free, then I'll have it. That's honestly why I got it, because this was the kind of lens that I wanted anyway. Between this and the 14-30 f4, and the reason I wanted this lens more was because of the aperture, the f1.8 aperture. And I wanted that because I like to do some low light architecture shots in London, and it might allow me to do some astro stuff at some point with landscapes as well. So I wasn't told what to say about this. I was given the lens for free. They just said, have it, review it, that's it. Nothing else required. So I can say whatever I want about it, which I will. We're going to get into the review now. We're going to go into London with the Nikon Z8 and this 16mm f1.8 from Viltrox. Okay, so we're in central London, late evening. One thing I really love about this time of day is you just get these warm ambient lights and you get the cool sort of natural light in the background. So you get this two-tone effect, which is excellent. In this first picture though, what I'm trying to take a picture of is a scene that's got a lot going on in terms of depth. I want to shoot it at 1.8 and see what's the depth of field that we're getting. Is the foreground in focus? Is the background in focus? I'm focusing roughly sort of midway into the picture. The foreground is a little bit out of focus. It's not lack of sharpness, it's just slightly out of focus. We're going to get that at 1.8 and we'll see a little bit more of that as we go on with this. I was just trying to take the picture of the gherkin here, but there was too many people around. So I thought I'd get a little shot of this cluster of, I think they're palm trees. I'm not really sure what they are, but I kind of liked it. Sort of juxtapositions against the office building in the background with these warm window lights coming in. I kind of liked it anyway. But then I decided that I'd walk a little bit further up the road. I wanted to get one of those shots with the yellow lines, using that as a leading line leading into the gherkin, just getting low down using that tilt screen on the Z8. One thing I really like with using the 16mm lens is that I can get these wide compositions like this, and you really need to be as wide as 16mm in order to get them. Now this is an area that I've shot quite a few times before, but it's always good to come back, try out a slightly different composition. So I was trying to get a shot here with a bus coming past and having Lloyd's building in the background, and I think I got it. I think this worked pretty well overall. I noticed that my ISOs were pretty much always between 100 and 400. And I'm shooting everything here at f1.8 and 50th of a second for the shutter speed. So I've shot a lot of compositions with this building. I just wanted to try something different. To get that absolutely right, you really need to get down on the ground. But I kind of like that composition anyway. It was like a straighter one than some of the other ones that I've shot before. This building I really love though. I like taking pictures of this, and it actually leans like this in real life. It looks like the picture's sort of skewed off to the side and as if it's at the wrong angle, but no, it actually leans backwards like that. And then just got this other little shot here, shooting straight up Lloyd's building, showing the staircase at the front, so I thought that'd be kind of interesting. Now, I'm putting some of these raw files for you to download on my website. There'll be a link in the description. It's not going to be all of these pictures, it will just be a selection of a few of them. So if you want to grab that, go and grab it, so you can actually see the performance of this lens for yourself by looking at the raw files. The only thing that you have to do when you do that is you're signing up for my newsletter as well. And this picture I did, I was really happy with this of the shard, but I was focusing on the foreground. What that meant was that the shard in the background isn't sharp. And again, that's not a lens sharpness issue. This is really just specifically down to the fact that the foreground isn't focused and the background isn't. I also shot this at f4 and f8, but when I looked at this larger on my screen, what I really liked about it was that background starting to go out of focus. Okay, so what do I think of this lens overall? Firstly, there's some real significant advantages to having a 1.8 aperture. There's a couple of downsides as well, which we'll get into. So during this shoot, I was shooting at 50th of a second at f1.8 manual mode, but with auto ISO, letting the camera choose the ISO for me. But looking at the pictures afterwards, most of the ISO ranges are between 100 and 400, and even then most of it was on the lower end. There's a couple of really significant advantages to that. The first one is that we're maximizing the dynamic range of our camera. That means we're going to get more information in the highlights and the shadow areas, because Usually what we see with cameras is that between 100 and 800 ISO, we're getting most of our dynamic range, and then it sort of tails off after that. And it means we're less likely to need to bring a tripod. And that's one of the real game changers for me here. Not having to have a tripod, it's really, really important. And being able to get as wide as 16mm means I can get all of the things in shot that I want to. My other lens is 24 to 70 2.8 that I'll use for these kind of photos. And that gap between 16 and 24, you might be wondering what you do about that. But 16 to 24, I'll just crop that if I need to crop it, because it's likely that I don't need to go all the way to 24. If I need to go from 24 beyond, I'll just switch to the 24 to 70. So this is a lens where I want to grab those, particularly those wide angle shots like this, like I've been doing in this video. Now you could do this with the 2.8 zoom lens, but they're going to be much more expensive. The other thing that you're going to find with them is that obviously they're stuck at 2.8, you can't get down to 1.8. This lens is also weather sealed. For me, that's absolutely vital because I like to go out when it's been raining and when the rain is sort of on and off. It gives a much more contrasty look to the pictures. I love it, but having weather sealing in there is kind of important. It has some. Now, how good that weather sealing is in the Viltrox lens, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out over time when I use this lens more, whether it's got really good weather sealing or not. But it seems like it's well built. It's a solid like metal lens. It's got the rubber gasket on the back of it to stop water getting in at the back. So hopefully it's got some reasonable weather sealing on it. There are one or two situations where I do care whether the lens is sharp or not, and this is one of them. For architectural stuff, I actually want a lens to be sharp. The other area would be for commercial work, but for architectural stuff, I actually like a lens to be sharp for that. And this lens is sharp. I couldn't actually find much negative in my own testing with it. The only thing I could say that perhaps is a complaint, and that even might be an unfair one, is that it vignettes quite heavily at f1.8. But I'm probably not too surprised on a wide aperture prime lens vignetting quite heavily at f1.8. And again, this goes into, I don't even mind it because that gives me a vignette and it suits the type of pictures that I'm doing. That vignetting might not suit the kind of pictures that you want to do. The lens is going to be coming along on my landscape photography trips. It's going to be featuring in my videos when I'm doing the street photography stuff. So you're going to be seeing this lens cropping up again and again and again because it's going to be something that I use on a regular basis. And because of that, you know, I checked out reviews before they sent it to me. I didn't want to accept something which I thought was going to be a dud and I was going to have to send back to them because I kind of have this rule on this channel where if I'm accepting something and I make a review on it, it's going to be something that I actually would use myself or think that is good enough. I don't want to just review something just to get, there's no point in doing that. It's just a waste of time. So I usually just like to only accept things that I actually want and I think that I'm actually going to use. And yeah, this is going to get into my bag. This is going to make it. I think it's a very good lens. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I'm really impressed about how these third-party manufacturers are coming on and getting better and better at what they're doing. Now, the links are in the description down below if you want to buy this lens. Please purchase from those links. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.